Welcome to Matters With. I'm your host, PhillipBrian. Today, we're here to discuss Movie Matters with You. I'm going to recommend 8 films that are great for Halloween, and they will either be set around Halloween or have Halloween as part of their story. I'm going to give them to you as double features. All right. Oh, here's a rule I made for myself. It has to be a film that at some point was theatrically released in one form or another. My first recommended double feature is Poltergeist, 1982. It stars Craig T. Nelson and Jo Beth Williams. This is a PG film. However, don't let that fool you into thinking that it's not a horror film. It is a horror film. Oh, on that note, these all won't be horror film recommendations. There's going to be films from multiple genres recommended. However, this film is a horror film that is PG rated. Now, so it's okay to show to the family. Now, there are a couple of scenes, specifically that one with the clown, that are a bit much. And I am, again, talking about the 1982 version, not the remake that came out several years later. This is a masterpiece. It is a great take on the haunted house genre. The second film of the haunted house double feature is from 1991. It is a Wes Craven film, and it is full of Wes Craven-isms. The People Under the Stairs, 1991. It is an R-rated film. It stars Brandon Adams, who you probably recognize from The Sandlot, and A.J. Langer. This is a twist on the haunted house, which I don't want to give away because maybe you haven't seen it yet. But it's a twist on the haunted house. It's not your standard haunted house fare. However, it was very much advertised as a haunted house type of film. Brandon Adams does a great job as the lead. It's very 90s. It has a lot of subtext. All right, moving on to the second double feature I recommend. And this film is the only G-rated film on this list. The Adventures of Ichabod Crain and Mr. Toad. It is an animated film from 1949. It is G-rated. It tells the story of Sleepy Hollow and the story of The Wind in the Willows. It was theatrically released. It is a gem. I'm pairing that with 1999's Tim Burton masterpiece, Sleepy Hollow, starring Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. It is rated R. It is a much darker version of the Ichabod Crane's tale than the Mr. Toad and Adventures of Ichabod Crane. This is full of the wonderful visuals of Tim Burton. It is well acted by Johnny Depp. It has a darkness to it, but the darkness is enjoyable. Sidebar, what you won't see on this list is Hocus Pocus or Hocus Pocus 2. Because if you know it, you know it. If you like it, you love it. Another film you won't see on this list is Halloween Ends, and I know that's in the theater right now. Not on this list. But what is on this list as a fantastic double feature that pairs perfectly is Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018. Both films starred Jamie Lee Curtis, and of all the Halloween films that have been released, I think there's been 63, these are the best two. And they pair perfectly together. I highly recommend it. The first one is a slow burn, perfect 70s horror film with lots of tension. It's fantastic. Halloween 2018 carries a lot of those same elements over. However, it's faster paced and the violence is ratcheted up. Both are great Halloween films, great for Halloween, and great horror films. And again, this is not a list of the best horror films because some of these films, as I've mentioned, are not horror at all. And if this was a list of best horror films, well, 1979's Alien would be on it because... The franchise centered on Michael Myers and Laurie Strode is possibly the best long-running horror franchise. However, again, these two films, Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018, are the best of the bunch and pair perfectly together. I cannot recommend them enough. All right, my final pairing for a Halloween-based double feature is the first film in that pairing is a quintessential 80s movie. It's super 80s. Stephen King's Silver Bullet from 1985, an R-rated film starring Corey Haim, Gary Busey, and Megan Follows. Yes, that Megan Follows from Anne of Green Gables. However, this is a very different film. This is a fantastic werewolf film that takes place over an extended period of time, and the final act is set on Halloween. It's going to be good whether you wear your 80s lens or not. However, it's going to be much better if you do. I sat through a lot of Halloween-based or Halloween story or Halloween setting films to prepare this list. Some of them do not hold up no matter how good your 60s lens, 70s lens, 80s lens, or 90 lens that you wear are. Silver Bullet does. And speaking of a 90s lens, my final recommendation that's going to pair perfectly, I said that Silver Bullet was a quintessential 80s film, super 80s. Well, here's a 90s film. The influential, starring the taken from us far too soon emerging talent of Brandon Lee, 1994's The Crow. This film is set on Devil's Night, which is the night before Halloween, Halloween Eve, All Hallows Eve. Again, it's from 1994. It has a lot of great 90s music in it. The soundtrack is awesome. The performance from Brandon Lee is charismatic and so influential. Ernie Hudson is also in this and does a very good job. If you haven't seen it in a while, please watch it again. If you've never seen it, please watch it, because this film is incredibly influential and has you can see droplets of it in so many films afterwards. Specifically, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy borrows a lot from 1994's The Crow. That's my list of 8 Halloween films set around Halloween, or Halloween is part of the story, that I highly recommend. There are lots of other Halloween films that are set around Halloween or story centers on Halloween that are very good as well. I want to know which ones you recommend. When I was working on this list, multiple people recommended to me Trick or Treat from 2007. I have not seen it. I will be watching it shortly before Halloween this year. But what films set around Halloween do you recommend? Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Let's talk about it. We'll talk soon.